Hey guys, welcome back to the Pure Goddess channel. My name is Gwenly. I hope everyone's doing well. So let's talk about about us being the real deal. That be that girl, right? I don't discriminate. I don't judge. I'm not a person who looks at appearance. Of course, I have eyes, right? Women and men are attractive. And I am attractive to both sexes. Anyone can be attracted to a man or a woman, right? And just appreciate how someone looks, right? Even if their outer appearance is not what society thinks is beautiful or handsome. And I just think everyone's beautiful, personally, because I look at their soul. I look at what they have inside within. That's the first thing I look at. Their eyes. The eyes tell it all, right? It's the window to your soul. And someone can be not so attractive to how the outside society sees, but they could be beautiful within, which makes someone, an individual, even more beautiful, right? And there is people that are not so attractive and are ugly within, right? Dirty, not cleansed, not clean, right? They're just dirty, filthy. Their spirit is like trash. And so a lot of the times you meet people that have either one or the other. And it's very rare to meet people that have both, right? The important thing here is what's within, which makes someone look more handsome or beautiful. And a lot of females in my life have treated me like I wasn't anything important. I wasn't the shit. I wasn't that B, right? and not knowing anything about me, just looking at me and looking at my attraction, looking what, you know, if you look like a normal person, you don't have like these attractive qualities, these sensual qualities of you. You're a normal person, but your soul, you know, your heart is beautiful, it's pure, it's peaceful. There's no ill intention. You will exude yourself as being a beautiful person, beautiful being, right? And people will hate on that. And and that is true too, right? But so I'll talk about an experience that I had. It was started May of 2023. Time flies because feels like it was just a few months ago, honestly. So so I started taking my son to in-home daycare, Hispanic, older lady. I was referred to by another older lady, same community in a sense, same culture. And it didn't finish well with, things didn't go well with the previous lady because of insecurities, jealousy, envy, greed. They just didn't like me, right? So they made up a whole deal, a whole scenario. One day, out of nowhere, the husband started verbally attacking me, like if I had hurt one of their people, or done something super bad, you know. And I'm coming to pick up my son, and this man starts yelling at me he's standing behind his wife, pacing, yelling at me. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And the lady's just, you know, it's all manipulation, it's all like envy, jealousy shit. And I'm just like, okay. I was just like shocked, like what the heck is going on here? This is not okay, first of all. And yeah, so I left, and I'm like, I'm never coming back here because y'all are disrespecting me, right? And I'm like, I don't know, you know, it's my son's caretaker, so I don't know what they do when I'm at work to my son, how they mistreat him or whatever, you know. I have no idea, but how you're acting and treating me is not okay, and it's not gonna happen again. The thing is, I took my son one more time, and I was paying this person cash and everything, right? I was not on like any help from the state, and since I'm a single parent, I would qualify, but I had not done all that yet. So, I was paying her cash, right, weekly. And I don't know what lie they told the husband that he was reacting that way. I don't know. But, from the start, it was envy and jealousy, right? And so I took my son one more day. And then after that, I'm like, I'm never going there again. Like, y'all are done. It's bullshit. I'm not gonna sacrifice my work because, you know, I'm not gonna sacrifice. I'm gonna take care of my son first. He is not safe there, obviously. And so I left my job. I had to leave my job. I was out of work for like a month, I think. I didn't have a car either. And that lady that I finished with, she you know, had talked about another lady that has her license for daycare and all that, and I had her contact info and blah blah blah. So I didn't have no one else to watch my son, right? And I called her and I'm like, hey, do you have an opening? And you know, and I have assistance and you'll get paid through the state and whatever. And she said yes, and everything was fine, you know, nothing out of the ordinary the first time I met her with the other lady. Nothing out of the ordinary, right? Just different culture, different vibes, nothing threatening, nothing negative. And I'm like, hey, you know, he'll be going these days and I don't have a vehicle. I'll walk to you, or she wasn't far. And so I would take my son just for him not to, you know, my son till this day, he still breastfeeds once a day for 5 minutes, short time. Back then he was breastfeeding more. He was younger. Yeah, 2 years ago he was young. He was around 2 years old. And I just wanted to, I guess, have that, start putting, you know, like a boundary there, like a detachment type of thing, because when you breastfeed, you're so attached to your child, you know. And it was more for me because my son, you know, I need to do what I need to do for him not to suffer when I really need to go to work. And he's gonna be far away from me for 8-9 hours, right? So I would take my son like part-time, and just for him to get to know the caretaker and vice versa. And yeah, it started out normal. She seemed spiritual, and she had these like different things, statues or whatever in her house, and I didn't put no mind to it because that's her own thing, right? And you know, the days are going by. Since I didn't have a car at that time, her eldest son, you know, she asked her eldest son to drop us off at our house, mine and my son's house. And I'm like, no, it's okay. You know, it was raining a little, and he dropped us off, and you know, a short 2-minute ride. And everything was cool, you know. Everything was peaceful, calm. And you know, a few weeks passed by, and I got a vehicle with like my tax money and everything, and you know, I trying to do the best I could, right, with what I had. And I started doing like delivery services, and so I was always on the road. And you know, things started happening. You know, I started getting more spiritual warfare. I actually met my twin flame. Which was the eldest son. You know, it was a very unique experience the first time we met, and when you meet your twin flame and you look into their eyes, it's like you know that person, right? Fireworks started going everywhere. It's like we know each other, right? And there wasn't that feeling of like that missing piece because I had found that person. That was the feeling I got meeting the stranger, right? And you know, warfare started getting heavier. I started getting attacks. Work was getting there was like a heaviness, like stagnant, like I had to push through mud. You know, they were doing, you know, and this is over the, you know, weeks had passed by, and this person was married, and we had this instant connection, right, the first few weeks. And you know, he would drop off his child and I would drop off mine, and you know, we would just say hi and that's it. But it was just a very strong connection. A few weeks passed by, and I had a nudge. I'm like, this person has someone, right? Nothing bad ever happened, right? It's just like this knowing, spiritual knowing. And I said, you have someone, right? It was a morning that we dropped off our kids at the door, and he nodded, and I said, okay, show me a picture. You know, I acted like everything was normal. Oh, show me a picture, if you don't mind. And he showed me a picture. I said, okay, you have someone, right? And I thought I could, you know, it didn't seem, from our connection, it didn't seem like there was nothing there anymore, which was reality. But they were still in the same household, still, you know, a lot of things, still living together. And things started getting very bad, just very chaotic, right? His partner, who they weren't together, very, very karmic, horrible relationship, but she started coming into the picture, and she found out that, oh, there's a beautiful girl that brings her child that's not from our country, because some people from certain countries just tend to like stick with their own people, and any outsiders are like bullied, and they will make you run away. And these people are like that. They will do spell work, throw black magic at you, make you suffer, and you will run away. And I had sensed that before. But I told myself, and I was guided to stay. I'm like, this connection feels really nice. It's all chaotic and everything, but you know, it's so I started getting evil eye attacks from the person's partner, right? From my twin flames partner. And I'm like, okay, this is just, I just want someone to take care of my child, and I just want to come and pick him up or drop him off in peace, and that's it. A lot was done to me. Groupies started forming groups. Bullied females started doing, like, coming, you know, I would go pick up my son, and every other day the groupies, the whole group would be there of females, the girl and her friends or whatever, females just there sitting. And it's like, I just want to be in peace, pick up my son. I had put a boundary, like, there was nothing that happened anyways, but I put up a boundary, like, okay, this is a little sticky, but until I figure out where I'm gonna take my son, because I just moved him, and I like the lady, and you know, too much moving for a child is just, it's not good, it's not healthy. And you know, I just didn't have the strength to keep moving my son, and then I'm dealing with, like, trying to be stable in my life, dealing with a narcissistic ex, who was financially abusive and abusive in other ways, even from afar. And you know, dealing with karmic family members. I was just trying to survive, right? And so yeah, I'm like, this person is taken, right? I'm not gonna like, this is just neutral, you know. If I see you, it's a neutral thing, hi, and that's it, you know. And so I started getting all these, like, attacks and bullies, and I'm like, this is just not feeling right? And it lasted a few months. I'm telling you guys, I think I started taking my son in the end of March or the start of April, and then the last time the lady took care of my son was October. So it was a few months, right? I was getting, and then it was like a month that I did not work, because I was getting help from the government, and so my son could stay home with me. Because of all this that was going on, I'm like, I can't, I need to find someone for my son. And that sometimes you can't find someone. Like, you have to really look around and see who you could trust, you know, in taking care of your child. So I saw the lady, you know, we started, like, becoming close and stuff, and we did have a bond. but it was false, you know. There was some heart in there. There was some care, but at the end of the day, it was just greed and envy, even from a 60-year-old female. The age doesn't matter. They will still envy and hate you and be jealous towards you and want the worst for you. Like my own family. My mother's 50 something. My father is mid 50s. The eldest have always been feeling this type of way towards me, which is crazy. It's like, you're supposed to be the role model, dude. You know, very unhealthy lifestyles. And so I had become semi-close with their family, and you know, I had to go pick up something that I left there after my son's last time, and you know, I told her, hey, that's it, you know. She eventually crossed me and became part of the groupies, part of the people that are harming me, doing black magic, throwing spells, talking negative, manipulating, doing all this stuff. That's how I learned about the religion Santeria, which is dark stuff. And I don't need to know much about a religion to know what it really is, because my knowing is different, right? So I already know what's gonna happen, what's going on. And I intentionally, like, I was guided to stay there for a reason. Why? Because I had a twin flame there, right? And this twin flame had to... I bring awakenings to people. I am also karma, which I come into people's lives to make the last decision, especially if people are treating others very bad, very wrong, bringing injustice. God will bring me into your life for you to make and have your last choice. Are you gonna treat this person right or wrong, in just, or with kindness and respect and integrity? Be loyal, just as a human being. Your character will get tested. It's gonna be a test for you. If you fail, then your karma is gonna come, right? And it could be a friendship, relationship, family, co-worker, classmate, it doesn't matter, right? It could be few seconds of meeting someone at a gas station, like anything, right? Where I'm guided, I go. So I was guided to stay there, and yes, it was a test for me too, from God, to see how much, like, to learn lessons within that, right? So it was very, very hard. And I eventually passed, right? I passed, and when I was, you know, the twin flame journey, there's one person that's more spiritual than the other, one that's more discerned than the other, one that is awakened and the other person is not awakened, and the person that is comes into their life to start that awakening, start that process, learn their lessons, pass the test, start healing, leave karmics behind, people that are hurting you, that are not good for you, leaving that materialistic 3D world, And I was there for a few months, and this person did not want to take the leap. This person did not want to start healing and ascending. This person didn't want, didn't want to. Even though there was a very strong connection, there was love there between us, he decided to stay with someone who was socially and materialistically better. Even though that other person, the first time I met the partner, and there's nothing, I don't hate, and I don't hate on females, even if anything, if like you're materialistically better, or in society you're better and you're more popular, whatever. I don't care for that stuff, right? And this person was very like that. And the first time I met this girl, I went to go pick up my son in the afternoon, and I guess everyone, she was there with her son, and then the lady that takes care of my son, they were all in the backyard. There was, 2 or 3 more friends there, and of the people. And I went, the screen door was open, so I invited myself in, right? And I started smelling this disgusting smell, of trash, something so stinky that I've never smelled in my life. I'm like, ew. I don't see nothing on the floor. What is this? There's someone just, it's a daycare. Did someone just have a poo-poo or what? It was just this really gross smell. If you could see it in the cartoons, where the smell of stinky gas, it's all green in the air. That's how it was to me, from the floor to the air, all the way to the backyard. I said, what is this? And I go back there, and it's this female, and I'm just like, ew, what the fuck does that mean? It was the first time I've experienced that, right? And I'm like, wow, this person is really dirty, nasty, spiritually, right? Spiritually, they're nasty and dirty and unclean. They don't take care of themselves, and spiritually, if you're like that, you talk behind people's back, you're not loyal, you're everything that you're not supposed to be as a female, right? And you backstab people, and you're dark, right? You mess with witchcraft, you do voodoo, all that stuff, right? You manipulate, you put love spells on people, anything possible, beauty rituals, because you're so low vibrational. You think nothing of yourself, that you put that onto others. You do spell work, you do beauty rituals, financial struggle rituals, all that stuff to anyone that comes near you. That's how insecure this person was, or is. And I was just like, no, I just grabbed my child. I'm like, no, and this person acts like they're holy, and they're the high priestess, and they're actually not, right? They're the opposite of that. And I'm like, oh wow, I saw, in the spiritual world, I saw what this twin flame was going through, and how she, from the beginning of whenever they met, or their relationship throughout the years, how she put so much spell work onto him. That's why they were together. When I had met him, he was in a low vibration too, so we couldn't really, like, we were not, you know, in the same level, and that's normal for one twin flame to be more elevated than the other, right? But low frequency, like, their lifestyle was very low vibrational, right? And you know, I just understood a lot there, and I knew when I became, you know, I saw the reason why I was there, why God, why my guides, why I was guided to be in this chaos, in this shit of a mess. Because I was guiding this person to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Eventually, he would see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I was that guiding light for him at that time, and for him to believe that there is good people in this life, right? And the love I showed him, because that's just natural to me. I will show love to anyone, even to my enemies, especially to my enemies. That's what I did. I was guided to do all these things, even though I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. It was mentally, emotionally, physically draining me, and my finances, because they were doing spell work, right? No weapons formed against us shall prosper. And but I was still getting hit, you know, and it was lessons that I was learning. I was being tested as well, on how to not be so opened and be so naive, I guess. Also to learn obedience from God and patience, not to react to everything they were doing to me, even when I knew on a daily basis what they were doing. I knew the type of spell work they were doing, the black magic, the witchcraft, how fake they were acting in front of my face, and then behind my back. As soon as I leave, they would switch it up. All that started breaking. I know I came into their lives to bring them their own lessons, and to remove that mask from them, for others to see who those people truly are. That's why I came into their lives, even though they hurted me, they did all this stuff, right? And I felt very betrayed, and, you know, from the person taking care of my son, because she perceived herself to be a more mothering relationship with me, to have a more of a mother-daughter type of bond. And until she switched up and she started changing, and I'm like, okay, you know, that was very hurtful. But, you know, at the end of the day, it was all like a lesson, test, and for every single person, and for people to be unmasked. And I'm telling you guys, I know they've done these groupies, they've done this out of jealousy, out of hate, out of envy, for the most simplest things, okay? That's how much hate and envy and jealousy I get. And I don't even show off, because if I did, oh boy, you know, majority of my life, this is what I've gotten from females. So I'm very wary, and I am very serious when it comes to females entering my life, because I've been, a lot of them have come into my life to do this type of shit, and you get to a point where you're just like, no, you're done, right? But these females have been doing this type of stuff to others in the past for a long time, for the most simplest things, and they have gotten away with it, because Some run away to another state from all the witchcraft and the spells being done to them. They can't handle it, right? They just run away. They don't know what's going on because they're not spiritually woke. And it's not easy going through witchcraft, through spiritual warfare. It's not easy. And I was that person in everyone's life who tried to mess with me, right? In that household that would come. I was their last, like, Lord, my guides, God knows, my angels and ancestors of the high twilight, they know these people are not going to change. But you are going to go into their lives. They will do that shit to you. And daughter, you are strong enough to go through all this. And this is a lesson and test for you. After you are guided to leave their lives, they're finally going to get their karma, right? From doing all this to previous people. And especially to a chosen one, right? This is how it kind of works. Basically works. And, it was very, 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 very hard. Most of the time when things like this happen, it's normal and fair to, like, verbally attack someone, like, to tell them, why are you doing this? Or to tell them, like, to their face, the truth, so why are you doing this? Start an argument or a fight. I was guided to shush this whole time. You know how hard that was? My whole life, I've been guided to be quiet and not fight back. Sometimes I could fight back in situations, but I just chose not to because I know the Most High is going to take care of it. He's going to bring justice to the situation, right? He'll bring justice to me. And I never, a lot of people thought I was just naive and stupid and I couldn't stand up for myself. But I know I am protected, and, people are finally feeling and realizing that because they're getting their fucking karma. So as chosen beings, it's really hard to exist, you guys, because the shit we have to go through, our purpose, one of our purposes, like, it's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. It's hard work. You may want to quit, and everyone has free will, and we can, but we chose, many are called, few are how does it go? Many are called, but few will actually, like, do the actual work, and it's an everyday thing, because sometimes I don't want to do things, and it doesn't always have to be with people getting their karma or me going into people's lives. It has to do with it's just a mixture of a lot of things, right? Learning forgiveness, like, God will test you in so many ways, especially with family. Me being raised by karmic family, that's it's been a few months since I dropped them, and I'm still learning forgiveness, I'm gonna start therapy soon, and it has to do with childhood wounds and, like, trauma and stuff. So that's what I want to speak to the therapist about. That's gonna help me more to, like, release things, because a lot of the things that were done to me was when I was a child, more when I was more innocent, and and just unlearning things that are not meant, that weren't never meant to me, for me. Unlearning really toxic traits, unlearning negative mindset, unlearning how I was put down and bullied, you know, like talking about finding my worth again, and I am worthy, right? Because I know I am. I know, like, I'm a full being. I know, like, every positive thing is within me. It's just, for me, I guess it's talking about it and going back to all these experiences with my family when I was bullied, when I was put down, when I was talked about, when I was humiliated, when I was embarrassed, when I was shut down, when you know, they didn't give, you know how parents have to elevate their children, have to give them the most positive love. I was never given that. And that type of worth, you know, and you know, for me, just talking about it helps with healing, right? And it's like, it's gotten to a point where I'm just ready to let it go. It's not like I need to like dwell in it for a while, you know, because I've started over a year ago, started to emotionally detach. I learned to detach from my family due to circumstances where, since I was a teen, I was like left alone. They didn't care at all about my well-being or where I was. Nothing. And they tried to, ew, what song is this? They tried to cover that, or like make up for it, because they never did the right thing to their child. They tried to cover it with me being a single parent and trying to be there for me, trying to parent me, trying to giving me you gotta be like this, like this, like this, blah blah blah, you know, and trying to be loving, you know, trying to make up for it, because they don't want to be punished, because they know at the end of the day the truth of who I am and how powerful I am, and they know that God will bring justice to me, justice to the situation, to my experiences, my hurt in life, and they try to make up for it. And you know, it's one thing to make up for it and be a changed human being, a changed person, but that is why I had to stay in their lives, and I did on a 3D sense did need them because I needed that stability. I needed that help. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a home yet. And I needed help with my son, you know, if I had to work late, and I needed someone to watch my son. So I needed them in those ways, right? But I also was and stayed in their lives until they were not sincere. It's one thing when someone changes, yeah, they had their ways and they left you, and they weren't loyal, they betrayed you, your own parents, they left you and they didn't care for you. Excuse me, they didn't love you. And you didn't have a safe haven. I love that movie, by the way. And when I feel very, very, like, very down and like I need nurture, I watch that movie. Not all the time, maybe twice a year. But I've always felt like a runaway from my own family. I've never had a home. I had to make a home within me, right? A safe haven within me. And overall, I started realizing that if I'm building a safe haven for me and my son, like having my karmic family in our lives, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And it just doesn't make sense to have them in our life. I don't feel full. I don't feel fully safe because they're still in my life. The people that have hurt me the most in my life, that have abandoned me my whole life, but telling others and showing their fake face they love me, showing society and showing other family members that they love me. I would do anything for my children, and I don't even go out. I go home after work and I pick up my children, and, you know, being so loyal and so dedicated to their children. Bullshit, you know? I had to be in their lives and stay in their lives. Now that I could see that they're no longer in my lives, it was time to let them go. And I didn't fight it, you know, it was within me. I had to let them go. God, I was guided I've been getting like guided and nudged by my guides and by God especially, to let them go for a few months now. And I would pull back, and I would come into, because I felt like I needed them. And that's what they will try to do, karmic family members. They will try to they will make it as if, like, first of all, they're the victims and you're the one at fault all the time. You're the problem child, you're the bad child, right? And also, like, you need them. Like, you can't do this by yourself, you know? And it's just manipulation and, like, deceivement. Because my own mother, she didn't even help me with, like, how to take care of a newborn. She never taught me anything. She never really helped. I still had to do it alone, even if I was in their household, you know? Everything I had to do alone. And, you know, there was no trust, nothing there. And, God put me back into their lives, and I didn't let go until he saw that they weren't changed. I saw that they weren't changed people. You know, my mom still wanted to hurt and betray me, and still talked behind my back, and still she didn't care for me. There was one time in September where I got really sick because I was working like a dog, almost 11 and a half hours, 12 hours the whole day, you know, like from when I wake up to when I get out of work to pick up my son. I got sick because I was so stressed. I didn't fully trust for my own family to be with my son for 3 hours or 2 hours and a half. And this was on a daily, right? It was 4 times a week. My stepfather would pick up my son from preschool and he would be with him. And, you know, to a certain point, I trusted him, but then I didn't, you know? And I trusted my son with my stepfather more than my own mother. And, you know, I started becoming more unemotionally attached in that sense, because I'm gonna be crying my whole life if I'm like still attached emotionally. Like my mom, I can't even trust her with my son. You know, like pity party every single day, you know? It's like, no. And I was so sick, so sick. I had vertigo, my back, I was so exhausted, and you know, I was a single parent. When I go home, it's all on me. You know, like I have to do every single thing for me and my son. You know, like they didn't care at all, you know? It's like they were being ignorant about it. Like, oh, you're strong, you could do it, you know? And my parents, the times they went to my house, my father went to my home twice. My stepdad went to my home the most, only a few times. My mother maybe 3 times or 2. My sister maybe twice. My brother a few times when we would get along, but never staying there for a long time. None of my family members ever wanted to hang out with me in my own home, which is crazy because I've always been welcoming, inviting, like, this is your safe haven. I would tell my siblings, like, you could come here. You know, like, we had a toxic mother, toxic home life. You know, like, you could come and relax here. You could come and hang out with us. My family doesn't like me like that. Like, they never wanted to hang out with me at my house, you know? You know how you see the family members, like your best friends, your siblings, like in bed, cuddling, watching favorite movies and eating snacks. Like, I've always wanted that, right? And my family was just always hateful and just selfish people, like jealousy and envy all the way. I'm like, I'm struggling to pay my bills and you're still fucking jealous of me? You're still jealous of me? Like, I could barely pay my bills and you still have these feelings towards me. You know, like, it's a struggle for me every day and you still feel a certain type of way, you know? And that's just very sad. But I've always had females doing this shit, you know? And my mom was my first bully ever. She is the biggest enemy I have. And even after all that she has done to me, I still love her. I still showed her love. I had my boundaries, but I still showed her love. But anyways, going back to this day where I was so sick, I don't know what I went. My grandson, inshallah, alhamdulillah. My son wanted to see his grandpa, which is my stepfather. My dad's never been close to my son, which another heartbreak for me. Till this day, he's never been close to my son or me anymore, which is just, it's funny to me. It's funny how people's masks fall off, right? And his wasn't intentional, because he doesn't give a crap, right? And so yeah, this day I took my son to play for a short time, you know, and I wasn't feeling good, and what was it? And I'm like, oh, I want to leave, like, I want to go, you know. I was telling my stepfather, and then he was, because I didn't want to see my mom. I'm like, I know she's not gonna give a shit, she's not gonna like nurture me or do anything for me, you know. So I don't want to deal with her, you know. I was very emotional already, just going through stuff, and just really, really exhausted, burnt out, sick, physically, and just not doing good. Could barely take care of my son, and could barely drive because I had vertigo, and just going through a lot. And I'm literally laying on their couch. Like, I don't do that shit because I don't feel like it's my home. I don't feel comfortable. But I had to lay down because I was just so dizzy. I was not feeling good. And he told me, just wait for your mom. He's bringing a hot dog for your son. Okay. And then my mom comes in through the door, and she's on the phone with her sister, right? Giggling and laughing, and just, she looks at me and then walks by. And, like, just acting like, you know, literally not giving a fuck. And I'm like, that's why I wanted to leave, because I know, you know, like, giving them so many, not giving them so many chances, you know. But, you know, for her to act that way was normal. But for me to, like, actually really see it, I was like, wow. And she kept talking on the phone, and then she said, okay, sister, bye. And she called someone else. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the car. And she's there at the table talking, while my son is eating, and I'm just there on the couch, right? She doesn't even come and check on me, nothing. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to the car. I told my stepfather, bring Mateo, you know, bring my son when he's done. Like, we're gonna leave. And so I went to the car, and I wanted to cry and cry and cry, and I was just so angry. Like, this rage just came upon me of all the times, every single time that she's done this shit to me, not giving a fuck about me since I was young, right? I've always, like, put my emotions, like kept them inside, and just been a mellow, calm person, even though I had a lot of resentment and rage inside of me, from everything from my family that they've done to me. This was one of the first times, like, it was coming up, you know, this rage. And I can't handle this, right? I can't handle this. Like, I can't even look at her. I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna tell her, say everything under the sun. I'm just gonna give it to her, and it's gonna be the end. And my stepfather came, and he brings my son to the car and everything. And he tells me, my mom's still on the phone in her car. She goes in her car. She does not even come and check on me. Still, nothing, not one word. And she told her husband, you could tell her we could follow her or we could drive her home. She is going to be behind me, and my stepdad could drive me home. Because I was telling him I have vertigo. I'm, like, really dizzy. And I said, no, it's okay. And I was just on the verge of, like, I wanted to punch her in the face. And I've never disrespected my family. I've told my mother some truths, but in a normal way, but never like sweared at my parents before. Very respectful. So for them to do all this to me, right? And he said okay, and cowardly, right? Just acting very cowardly. And that's when I was like, I'm done, right? And it was just now emotionless, boundary, until I was guided to, that's it. Let's cut it off. You know, after a few weeks, that's it. I was done, right? One more thing happened after a few weeks. My brother started attacking me. He attacked me because he has some rage in him, because I don't know, he's just hateful and jealous and envious. I don't know, he just doesn't like me, right? And it was in front of my mom. So he still lives with my mom. He's going to school full time. And it was just a normal thing, right? Normal thing going on. Talking about if it gets icy, bad weather, stormy, like snowstorm, whatever, how Portland was last year, and the bus and the school system and how it works and all this. And he was just doing most of the talking in between us three. And then I commented something like, you know, telling my mom, you know, if this happens, you're gonna be the one to pick up my son, because I was working more towards downtown and at that time. And none of his beeswax, none of his business. And he didn't even understand, because he is not so close to like my personal life, like what I do on a daily basis. Nothing to do with my son, right? And he started just yelling at me, are you stupid, and this, and just very, very foul stuff. I said, excuse me, but it was this rage of just hatred, right? This negativity that he just pushed out onto me. And I was like, what the heck? And my mom, yeah, she had some fear in her. She has fear towards my brother. She needs to do a lot of healing, but she didn't say one word. That's how much fear, that's how much unhealthiness there is in that household. And I just became enraged, and I don't know what I said, but I was just like, okay, that's enough, or shut up, or I don't know what I said. And I told my mom, I will not accept this again. No, nothing. And then he wants to be, you know how petty people are. He wanted, my son is an innocent being, and that's his uncle, right? And he wants to be around his uncle and play with him. He's like a younger guy, and they would get along and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want him by himself with my son. And you know, after that, he felt like he could be, every time I would drop off my son, he was there. Like, he wanted to be playing with my son just to get under my skin, you know, because he's usually downstairs. He don't give a fuck. But to get under my skin, and I started realizing he was getting along with my mom, and like because they have their issues too, but just being more connected to my mom. You see the big disrespect there. I said, I'm done, you know. It was just like things like that were just accumulating. Okay, that's it. November, when was it? I don't even remember. Towards the end of November or December, I said, I'm done. You guys are all done, and that's it. I'm not even gonna explain myself, because you guys know what you're at fault for, what you've done to me and how you treat me since I was a young girl. Because my own stepfather has been in my life since I was 9, and he used to bully me when I was young too, because I'm still, you know, I'm a thick person. But I was, you know, like overweight when I was a child. And he bullied me. I remember once he told me, like, there's these ponies at one of my cousin's, my niece's birthday, or my cousin's daughter's birthday, and, not my niece, and they had ponies in the backyard, and I was like, you know, innocent girl, but I was more on a heavy side, and I wanted to get on it. I was telling my mom, and he says, oh, you're too big, or you're too fat, or something really negative, you know. And I was a little girl, like 11 years old or less, you know. And you know, it was just really, I was crying. You know, it was, how can an adult bully you like that, put you down like that? You know, it's not okay. And it was normal for my mom. Like, she probably scolded him, but like, she fucking didn't care either, you know? It was just more of like, people are watching, why are you making her cry? Because she didn't give a fuck either. We're around family, like, she has to have her face, her fake mask on, that she's a good parent, right, in front of her own family, and her own family knows what she's done to me, especially. But they put her in her place when they think she's done too much. But it's okay to like bully her a little bit, you know, like, or to put her down, because she can't be up here. And yeah, I mean, that's what it was. So what else, you guys? I think that's it. 111. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.